And here we are. We are live for the Sunday Builds. What's happening, everybody? Hope all is well. We're talking to ourselves because there's nobody in here yet. But anyway, we're going to give a big greeting and act like there is and keep on trucking.
We're about to find out how big a draw Jason really is.
He is the man, is he not? Oh, Craig Jones is here. What's up, Craig?
Hello, Craig.
Yeah, Jason's not here this week, but we've got our good friend Frank's going to sit in for him. And
but he's going to be
What's
careful
up,
about where he sits.
What's
right?
up,
He's
Tiff?
going to be very careful about where he sits and what he's sitting upon.
And I'm going to behave myself.
And I'm not.
It's always BG's fault. Always. So what? Let me introduce everybody. In case you don't know, if you're a first-time tuner-inner, I am Mike, the Scale Model Outlaw, and who's that right underneath me is Mr. Frank.
How you doing? I'm Frank from Frank's Model Works.
And right next
As
to
always,
him,
it's a pleasure, gentlemen.
Always. And right next to him is who?
This is Mr. BG, the lovely husband of the great and famous Mrs. BG.
Well, you nailed that one.
Well, when you hear it enough times, it sort of sticks.
This is who you are. This is how you announce yourself. I can see it now. And right above him, the one, the only,
Justin Ryan of Scale. Jesus Christ. Modeling Insanity Infamy.
Model Insanity Infamy.
Okay. Awesome. Well, good thing this isn't live, Justin. Ha ha ha.
I didn't know Jesus had a YouTube channel.
He should.
We are live, but we do got people in here too. So I'm sure Tiffany is. She's working on her Jaguar build with Kyle.
The what now?
Chet's in here. So Tiffany from Dirt Road Cinderella. She's working on her, Jag build. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Jaguar correctly, so I'm going to.
You certainly are not.
No. Let me just ask my Mini Cooper. It says no.
Mr. Justin Rust-Oleum himself. Chet says Mr. Justin is Mr. Rust-Oleum himself.
Yes, sir. I was actually I was representing yesterday up at Mosquito Con wearing my Rust-Oleum T-shirt.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, there's plenty wrong with that.
How was the show, Justin?
It was good. It was nice. It was hot and humid.
Really?
Oh, well named then, eh?
There were way too many BTUs in that room yesterday.
Too many
BTUs?
British thermal units. Yeah, it was
Fred Henry's
it
in the house.
It was raining outside, so
we
got
guys. Welcome.
We did the Colorado show, the Mile High Open last Saturday. That was awesome.
Tell us about that. I've heard some different things. So tell us about that, Mr. BG.
It was really cool. We were at the Forney Transportation Museum, so there was more there than just cars. They had one of my favorite locomotives. They had a Big Boy, which is like an 884 or something like that. Monstrous locomotive engine. Got to take a peek inside the I don't know what do you call it, command module for that. But
command module.
Yeah, the command module. The amount of valves and oh my god, it was overwhelming. And did I take a lot of pictures? Of course not. I was so overwhelmed. But the show had about, we're guessing, between 220, 250 entries.
Nice.
And it was one of the largest. They doubled their usual. The Forney Museum doubled their usual Saturday type of traffic, so that was awesome for them.
Right.
And Josh and Chris are really cool. They're getting the hang of running the shows. And here's something that endeared me to them for forever. They actually reached out and asked, as a YouTube content creator, would you like us to pause the music for a while so you can record, or would you like us to do some copyright-free music so you don't get dinged by YouTube?
Nice.
Oh, that's
And
awesome. That is very cool.
I went and I asked my camera person, and she said trying to plan when to film is a little hard. So the copyright free music would be better having just going on in the background. So that's what they did, and we uploaded our video, and YouTube did not give us a hiccup or anything. So
Nice.
that was awesome.
They must get that all the time.
I think so. We've been to like NNL West where they're playing a lot of oldies and classics and stuff, which is cool. But I couldn't do any of the audio that we'd recorded. I had to put music over all of that. So
Yeah.
it was really nice that they had us in mind, us content creators in mind. And when they were doing the award ceremony, where basically Chuck just stood there for the whole show, we just they actually gave us YouTube content creators a big shout out because they're like, we wouldn't have had the turnout if it wasn't for you guys. So that felt real nice to get some of that love.
Get some of that love, yeah.
But it was a really fun day.
Sluggo, yes, Jason Blue Ox is out of town. I believe he's at a show this weekend. Am I correct, fellas?
Yeah, I think so.
I know he's going to be gone next weekend as well.
I will too.
Yeah, BG will be gone. So we've got some guests coming in next weekend. We pretty much nailed down one. We're going to work on another one. Try to maybe get some new faces in here for you guys on the chat to meet and hang out with.
He says new faces. I don't even have one.
Well, you got some really pretty hands. Like you're like the best hand model guy ever.
Thank you. I'm glad you noticed. I used Palmolive.
You're soaking in it now.
I'm going to soak in it right now. Madge is soaking in it.
I'm going to see if anybody remembered that commercial. That is definitely dating yourself.
Uh-huh. Hey, Mr. Fred Henry. What's going on, sir?
He's not going to respond.
Oh, he's already
not verbally. Don't listen for a response.
we're all gonna be silent so we can hear his text.
I was reading.
That would be awesome if he did, though.
Yeah, right.
That would scare the crap out of me if he did.
Like
all of a sudden,
bottling Jesus.
Fred Henry talking,
especially with his voice.
I don't know what to tell you, Chet. That's just how YouTube likes to work, I guess. I know a lot of guys that get dinged for having copyright music in the background on their videos. So
they will. That's exactly right.
Back in 2014, I uploaded a video of a radio control plane. There was no music whatsoever, not even in the background. In fact, the plane was flying at about 400 feet over Calverton, where the F-14s were built.
Uh-huh.
The only sound you heard was the propeller screaming. And some company from Europe put in a copyright claim against me, and they like, I got in trouble for it. Like, this is a terms of service violation.
Yep.
You keep this up, you're gonna have a problem. I'm like, listen to the video. It's a radio control lip. And they were like, they didn't even have to say what song it was. They just said, this is our intellectual property. And eventually I got it taken away, but that's what used to go on.
Right, but the amount of work it takes to do that is just outrageously stupid.
Yeah. Yep.
You can contest it, but you're gonna mess with it. A lot of your I do with InShot and iMovie, and a lot of them will have canned music that you can use. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
And
I was using this app here called Video Shop, and they have a music library, but it was like every month, one of their songs would be copywritten out of like Brazil or something like that. So I get a ding. I'm like, all right, fine. So then I just started using the YouTube beta version on my phone to actually do music on there, and it's all YouTube's library, so we don't have to worry about it. Yeah,
that's the only thing I use, and there's good songs on there.
Yeah, there is, and I was trying to find one for a video yesterday. And I found myself just sitting there listening to it, going, "This is pretty jazzy." It's got a good beat. I can make up my own words. It's all right. Oh, see, Fred did answer.
I didn't hear him.
Nope.
I can relate, Fred. There's no way that I can soak my hands in 5 gallons of Pall Mall and pull them out. It still looks like I worked on a hand grinder for a lifetime.
I'm surprised they don't have dishpan hands, Fred. Hey, what's everybody working on today?
That's a good question. You want to start off, BG, or you want me to?
I'll go ahead and start.
All right.
I am still
Hang on.
working on the Dinky Mini Cooper.
Hang on, let's get you up here on the big screen so we can see what you got going on. Look at that.
Push them buttons, Cletus. So
Got it.
yeah, we're trying to get this guy finished off because we have a show next Saturday that he has to be in. So we got the chassis all done.
Look at that. That's too
And
cool.
it's looking good, but we had to glue in the dashboard and the steering wheel yesterday. So that's finally cured up enough to where I can put the acetate windows in. But then we're also having to work on this guy because that needs to be done by next Saturday also.
Oh, wow.
So that's nothing but decals. And here's the interior tub, rally
Okay.
car. And we just did a first coat of primer on the body. And once we get this sorted out, we'll give that another spray up. That's basically it. I'm also kind of working on the GTO My a little bit, but not a lot right now.
GTO My.
Yes.
We're now familiar with the GTO My. We had Chuck on the Thursday show. And
Oh, yes, I was there.
we told that story. That was just, for those who didn't know, they know now.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody knew anyway because, but it was still pretty funny. What about you, Mr. Frank? What are you working on today, sir?
I'm working on a dart.
Same here. I'm actually
A
working
dart.
on a dart.
I'm working on. I have 2 darts going right now, but one of them has to. I got to get rid of this thing. I'm so sick and tired of looking at it. I just want it done.
Right.
I'm just tired of looking at it. I've been working on it since like October. I just want to get rid of it. And then I got to finish the USAC dart. That most of my stuff is like in later stages. Everything's painted. It's just, it's where I usually screw the pooch and final assembly and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Final
Well,
assembly.
what about you,
final
Justin?
assembly.
What are you working on?
Emotional instability.
Well, there you go. Let's give Justin support so he doesn't show up at your local ball field and start shooting people.
No, not that unstable.
Okay, good.
No, I'm just looking for that drive, looking for the push to actually want to work on something right now. But I do have a bunch of projects that have end dates that I got to freaking do, and I really don't feel like working on anything whatsoever. But starting a little base, I just put some texture material down on a piece of expanded polystyrene to create a little base for this Panther tank that I've been working on.
Nice.
And I got this piece of shit figure that I got to do. I don't even when I'm in a good mental place, I don't want to do this shit.
How do you really feel about that, Justin?
Oh God, don't get me started. But no, it's sculpted terribly. It's just, that's where I'm at.
Been there. Sometimes you just got to step back and take 1 or 2 or a dozen breaths or, 1 or 2 or a dozen beers, whatever it takes. In your case, in my case, Justin, maybe a couple dozen double shots of bourbon on ice with a nice water chaser.
Nope.
Those are nice.
Neat only.
Neat only for you. I like mine.
I drink my whiskey neat.
I like mine with a bourbon ball, and I'll chase it with some ice water. So. Well,
chasing with ice water is fine. It's actually having an ice cube in it. It's sacrilege.
Yes, that's why you got to use a bourbon ball. A bourbon ball is usually like a silicone ball. It's frozen, but it doesn't dilute the alcohol by getting water in it. So.
Well,
I used to get bourbon ball when I sat on my nuts at the bar.
Oh, there. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks.
Yep. That was fun.
I've been on a Scotch kick lately, and that's.
I can't afford it, but I love it. I can't
Yeah.
afford it. I love it. Yeah,
So I'm
I
half
haven't
coffee
been to the
today.
Buffalo Trace distillery, but I have had Buffalo Trace, Matthew. It is very good. It's very good bourbon.
I'm kind of on a Gatorade kick right now.
Yeah, there's that.
I'm going for the vintage stuff. You know, it's got a born on date from last Thursday.
Right? Woo, that's vintage. It's been around a
Oh
while.
yeah, that's stuck around a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm much in the same boat as Frank. I'm working on 2 darts, and as much as I love petty and petty cars and all that, I am sick and tired of looking at petty blue. I got so much petty blue on this thing, and it's like it all starts running together. It's like it's all one big blue blob. Fortunately I'm at the assembling part of it, so that's helping a little bit. I'm getting the K here. I'm gonna go ahead and blow it up, see if I can blow it up without blogging out. There we go. I'm getting the cage started on it now, so pretty excited about that. I'm actually doing some assembling, which is always the fun part. After all the mock up and all the painting and tearing it down and starting over, but that's the one that I work on every Sunday until it gets done, and it needs to be done by the end of this month, or I will not have my own group build kit done. So I've got to get it done.
Yeah, I've been there. It's one of the reasons why I stepped away from doing the small scale group build with Sean. It's just a bad time of year for us.
Sluggo, to follow up with what Frank said, Bourbon Ball is a real close cousin to Blue Ball, apparently. That's what he said.
Oh my.
They're comorbidities.
Comorbidity. You're gonna die.
Called topic change. Oh man!
Hey,
So
anybody have any cool tools to talk about?
cool tools?
Cool
Look what I
tools.
found. I was cleaning under one of my shelves.
I've been wanting one of those.
I found the chopper.
The chopper.
The chopper.
Get in the chopper.
Get in the chopper.
Nice Predator. Was that a Predator reference?
What? Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, get
Yeah,
in the
okay.
chopper.
That's
Yow.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's what's on there.
Oh, get down. Yeah.
Get down. It's
I
not
like
the
the
tumor.
boobies.
That's my favorite one. It's not a tumor. It's not.
Not
Get your ass to Mars.
I always wanted to redub Darth Vader's lines with an Arnold Schwarzenegger sound alike.
Look
Somebody
up
on
Brian,
Instagram does it.
Look up
Oh.
Brian Monarch.
Dang it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, there goes that. I only had that idea for 20 years.
Yeah, well, you were too slow.
Somebody beat you to it. Yeah, Sluggo, I use a lot of super glue myself. The thin set I'll use to hold something in place, but I use a lot of super glue myself. What about you guys? You guys use super glue at all?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The only good way to hold photo etch on when you're putting it permanent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this one's pretty well used. You got that one there.
Yeah, that's the Bob Smith stuff, right?
Yeah. Well,
Good stuff.
I have
This
a
is what-
connection.
This
Yeah,
is what
okay.
I've been. This is my brand right now.
Medium
Starbond,
thick.
medium thick. That was way back in high school. Now,
Okay.
Now I'm just full on thick.
Is
now it's just
actually like
extra.
is that like a black super glue?
It is. It's actually.
Oh,
absolutely
that's
is.
cool.
The black super glues are rubberized. They have like a rubberized additive in it, and it's I don't know what it does, but it seems to bond better and clean up easier than regular CA.
Oh, that's good. So does it fog transparent pieces also?
Probably.
Oh.
Try it right now.
Put it on. Yeah, whatever you're
I probably
building,
got
put it
some
on.
clear
See.
shit.
See.
So the transparent piece is getting fogged. That's all because there's no air circulation. So if you
Is that
can
what
keep
it
the
is?
airflow, those fumes won't build up inside and fog your shit.
Okay, so I'll drill holes in the top of all of my car models and make sure that they have proper
Ventilation.
ventilation.
Or you could just kind of blow into the window, the open window. or put a fan up next to it to keep the fumes moving.
That's cool. Okay, I learned something new today.
Also, I know a lot of the car guys are into using that future floor shine. If you dip your clear parts, it will also help prevent fog.
Okay, so I've done that to clean up a fogged part, but I haven't used that to protect a part from getting fogged.
Yep, it will work. That's an airplane builder's trick.
Ding! I like that.
I too am a super glue guy. I like the Loctite brand, and they've got the gel, the thin, and then the ultra gel. The ultra gel is pretty thick. I don't use much of it, but the blue and the red I use quite a bit of. It works very, very well. Very satisfied with the product. And no, I'm not sponsored by Loctite. However, I'd like to be because I think they got a lot of money.
I was going to say, not yet.
Be on standby for your Outlaw 10 discount code for Loctite Super Glue.
Loctite.
I got something to show off here.
Oh,
it's not a tool, but it's a kit that I got. I got a kit at the Mile High Open. This guy here,
belly tank
by Northland Customs, Mike North, worked with Scale Speed Garage and BCG Resins to create the belly tank racer.
That's cool.
Too cool.
As it turns out, Mike North's daughter actually did the graphics for this label. I found out when I was getting this from him. She was very proud of that. Very talented young lady. But I haven't even opened this yet. I actually didn't even put this in the stuff that Chuck was bringing back for us. I carried this, close to my chest all through the airport. I'm like, I'm not letting this go. But we'll do an unboxing of that here pretty soon.
Sweet. That is cool looking.
Well, I've loved those World War II style belly tank planes. I want to do that one with a little bit of weathering, maybe military paint flaking off of it, something like that.
Something like that.
Than's Jason.
I think those things are cool, man. You paint them up. A lot of times you see them like in an aluminum, like painted up like they would be on the bottom of an airplane.
Yeah, I think
a number on the side of them.
A World War II style shark mouth on there would be kind of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Well, I spent all day yesterday. Oh, go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
You could even go into the deep layers and paint it with the aircraft colors, then hit it with some chipping fluid, then spray regular hot rod paint shit over top, and then chip that off to show the original paint job underneath.
Right on. Oh, I like that. That's okay.
Yeah. Especially if they was running out there in Salt Lake, that fine
chip
dust,
chip nose of it up.
Yeah, like
yes.
peel on the back. Yeah.
Well, there's a small chance I might get a chance to go out to Bonneville and actually watch a run this summer.
Nice.
Oh, I'm jealous. My sister went out there. There was nobody there, but she happened to be out there with a work thing, and she went out and saw it, but there was nobody there doing anything. So she was took a picture of her and her Bronco out there. I'm like, well, your Bronco's probably not the fastest vehicle that's ever been on that salt, but good for you. Right. You did something I didn't do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, a friend of Mrs. BG's actually built her own salt flat racer, so
very cool.
She invited us to go out there. We'll see how it goes. See if we get time. So her new work is putting her all over the country now.
To go all the way over to the Daytona Beach yesterday, and it was horrible. It was like 85, nice little breeze coming off the Gulf or off the Atlantic. And I had to go and look at a bunch of Volkswagens. It was terrible. I did have to walk all over the place, which that part sucked. But it's something about being in Daytona in April. It's just horrible. It's just horrible. I don't recommend it.
Plain Display is going to be there? Nice. Okay, that'll be awesome. If you see me there, come say hi, bud.
And I'm actually going to bounce off of him, too. Yes, more salt flat land speed stuff. Iceman, are you listening? Because I would definitely buy some shit.
Oh,
actually, back when I was Cub Master in the Cub Scouts, I actually just left the Cub Scouts last year. But every year we do the Pinewood Derby, and I actually one of my derby cars was modeled after the SoCal Speed Shop belly tank.
Okay.
Oh, that's an iconic vehicle.
And it is it's all wood.
Well, hang on. Let me get you blown up. Hang on. There you go.
So you had to shape that yourself?
All sanded. I used a red ink, so it's transparent, so it would still show the wood grain through where the red is.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Good.
I used to add to the weight, because obviously I took a shit ton of wood off of this thing. I used tungsten putty, which is why the quote unquote canopy, the windshield, is melting.
Oh.
over it was formed nicely when it was time to race, but even with that tungsten putty up there, I still had to add a whole bunch of weight to the bottom of it. But I never built, because we had the scout class, which is the ones that actually win stuff, and then the outlaw class, which was adults, siblings, parents, leaders, all that stuff. I always made them look cool. You know what I mean? I never focused on any kind of extra speed to make them fast. You know, that way the kids, oh my God, I beat Mr. Ryan's car.
It's always
Years
cool.
ago,
Go ahead,
years ago, the ex-wife had a work function where they wanted to do pine car derby races or something. So she brought the little car blank home, and she was like, "Can you do something with this for me for work?" I'm like, "Sure, okay." So I sanded it down a little bit, and then I painted it gloss black, and then put extra Trans Am decals on there. So I made it the Bandit.
Okay.
It actually won.
Nice. One year, before I was Cub Master, our Cub Master challenged me to make Washington
Fight to the
crossing.
death.
He had me make Washington crossing the Delaware. So I literally made a car that looked like a river and a boat with figures with George Washington at the front, and they all had the oars and shit.
That's funny. Did Tooch help you with the accuracy of that, or did you not know him?
Nope, that was before I knew Tooch. That was back in 2018, I think.
That's cool.
Let's see if it's in this cabinet too. It should be.
I don't know. You're not a proper model builder if you actually throw stuff away.
Well, we have all of our Pinewood Derby cars in this thing here, so. But that one I don't see.
Congratulations, Fred.
Exactly. Looks like Fred took home first place with his Bronco on the in the truck category. So hats off to you, Fredo. Good job. I did manage to hit one hobby store yesterday while I was over there in the great town of Daytona. I went to High Fly Hobbies. Now they're just what it sounds like, right? They're more RC stuff, but a friend of mine got me this Unreal Roller. The old that's a cool kit, man.
I thought they sounded more like a dispensary than a hobby shop.
That could be that too.
Justin, that's cool.
So yeah, I did find it, the Washington crossing the Delaware car.
Hang on, let me get you blown up here.
Is that based on a Tomiac?
That's too cool. It's got ice chunks and everything.
Literally, it's all wood except for the ice and the figures.
That is too cool.
That's what happens when you put a model builder in a Pinewood Derby.
Right? Good job, man.
Thank you. It was the hit of the show. Everyone was like, oh my God.
That's too cool.
And it was all within spec. Length, weight, height, everything.
Nice.
Even though the rules didn't matter for the adults, but I wanted to show the kids what you can do and still be in the rules.
Right. It's like, this is why you should study history, kids, so you can get your Pinewood Derby cars right.
Yeah, get it accurate.
Frank Dominic has a question for you. Says, is that a basement and is it full of models? I assume he's talking about your workspace.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a basement, and yes, it's full of models. This part of the basement. So when I do my videos and I'm talking to the camera,
We'll see you,
during my
Jason.
regular, that's where the camera is where my workshop ends. Behind there is where the washer and dryer is, the furnace, the hot water heater, that kind of stuff. But everything, and then the wall behind me right here leads to the finished part of the basement. So this is about 250 square feet, and I had to what do you call it? I had to measure it yesterday because in doing my we were doing my taxes yesterday, and the accountant said, what is, you know, like you get the statement for your monetization from YouTube. It doesn't come under Google or AdSense. It comes under a totally different name.
Mhm.
And they're like, what is this? And I said, oh, it's a YouTube channel. And they're like, well, is it a hobby or is it like a business? And I go,
Yes.
it's neither. It's a colossal money suck.
Yeah.
So that, like I had to answer all kinds of questions because, you know, like there was a payment made to me. I'm like, all right, you want to see what's involved? Okay, no problem. And towards the end of it, they were like, okay, so you took a big loss for the year. I said, I sure did. I sure did.
Hell yeah, you did.
How big
You
a loss?
figure
You're
out-
not allowed to file taxes anymore. That's how big a loss. Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Such a loss. They were like, geez, I hope you don't get audited.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. That'll be fun these days.
Jet scale models. Can you guys please give that message to Frank? I think he would like the video link. I'm looking for the message. Jet scale models. Could you post the link up again, and we'll share it over to Frank and let
What
him check
link?
it out. That's what I'm looking at too. I just got the message about share it with Frank, but I don't know.
Jet scale models. Don't tell us how to live our life.
The thoughts and views expressed by Justin aren't necessarily those of the Redskins.
I love that. I love that.
I'm still going to get that tattooed on the inside of my arm. I swear.
Just whenever comes time, you just roll it over. That's all right. I got my Miranda
I
rights
will live
written on the other
forever
one. Like, do you understand these? Yeah, I got them tattooed right here.
Yeah. Do you understand these as I read them to you?
Yep. I got them
Oh,
tattooed.
okay. I see what you're talking about. A link regarding the recent video on the rest of. Okay, cool. Rare birdcage Corsair restoration update. Cool. I'm gonna check that out. Thank you very much. My one of my last videos, I think it is my last video, was a birdcage Corsair that I had built right before the pandemic started, and going through because there were a lot of versions of the Corsair, but the earliest version was called the birdcage because it had so much framing in the canopy, it looked like a birdcage. And it was so bad for visibility because the pilots couldn't see anything. So then they developed a bubble top canopy so that they could at least turn around and look and see if anybody was behind them trying to kill them.
That's a good thing, I guess.
It was that one of those deals where they just couldn't get the bubble top quite right yet, and they had to go with that type of version.
Yeah, they were trying to develop a method to mass produce. Either they couldn't use blown glass for obvious reasons because if it shatters, it's going to hurt this. So they needed to find a way to make a plasticized clear. I guess I don't even know if Lexan was around back then, but I guess a Lexan type material.
Yeah, I think it was actually around. It might have been actually invented for that. I'm not sure. Crazy stuff though. Because, then 20 years later, you got Big Daddy Roth making bubble car tops.
Bubble top cars.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I have to close the window. It's actually getting hot outside.
You're in Arizona. Of course it's getting hot outside.
Right?
Yeah. But no, I did some, took a lot of pictures, made a little video for that Volkswagen deal. I posted it up. I just posted it up and I didn't know how well it was going to go. I mean, we mostly do model stuff, but I went to a buddy of mine's a couple weeks ago. Went to a buddy of mine who just got into the hobby of drag racing RC cars, and we went down to the Don Garlits Museum of Drag Racing and made some videos of that and posted that video up. But it's kind of like doing a tank video on a car model centric video. It's not getting a lot of traction, but my buddy liked it, so I'm happy about it. But tomorrow, probably tonight or tomorrow, I'll have the Volkswagen video out too. If nothing else, you can use the Volkswagen video for reference. There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Alrighty.
The radio control drag racing, is it electric or nitro?
Electric.
Woogie.
Yeah, most of the cars were electric. At least the ones that I saw at that particular show. I don't know, like, if other shows have different classes or, that maybe have the nitro or whatever, but everybody that I saw was running electric.
So, dude, that means that if you're doing electric drag racing, those things are going to take off and go.
Yeah, they're gone. I mean, they are gone. They were telling me that the one that won it that day was traveling like 114 miles an hour, 115 miles an hour when it went out the track. That's not scale speed. That's like real speed. And it's only 130 feet, I think they told me that track is. So that thing, yeah, it's like gone.
Could you imagine being in that thing?
Oh, the G-forces would be ridiculous.
like a rocket launch?
That would be
ow, my neck, ow, my hips, ow, my neck.
Right. You ever seen those people that jump out of airplanes and do the parachuting thing? Before they pull the parachute, they got a camera on them and their face is like behind them. That's what you would look like.
Yeah. Oh, the old 1960s rocket sled.
Right.
From ejector seat testing.
Yeah. When they're spinning them around on that circle. They were testing for, like, the one I'm thinking of. They were testing for like astronauts or something. They put them on that big gantry crane looking thing, and the centrifuge. That's it, and just spun them around and around and around. They show the guy's face, and his cheeks are wrapped around his ears.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Finally, he goes. He passes out.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how young and healthy you are. You look like a basset hound towards the end.
Fun fact, right up the street from me is where one of the centrifuges that the Apollo astronauts and the Gemini astronauts trained.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And actually, there was, up until August, there was I mentioned it before, the classic toy show, Zolicon. They actually held it in the room that the centrifuge is in.
Oh, wow. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then they have the capsule. It's not on display, but it's like, I guess they're building up the funds or whatever to restore it. But there's so I live in Hatboro, which is Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Right up literally on the other side of County Line Road from me is Warminster, where Johnsville Air Base was. And that was right across the street from Johnsville Air Base was where the centrifuge is. And they have the actual capsule sitting at the end near one of the various radar towers toward where the old runway used to be. It's now a community park, but
well, that's cool. That is very cool. Hey, James, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the party, to quote my friend Sarge.
Hey, James, what's up? Oh, Photo Etch is tiny.
James.
In 1/43rd scale.
Yeah, everything is tiny in 1/43rd scale.
I don't know. Do you think this needs windshield wipers? I don't think this needs windshield wipers. I'm just going to be like, whoops, I lost it. Sorry.
Well, I can see the judge now. Mr. BG, we need you at your model, please. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
right. No.
I'm Mr. BG. Mr. BG, is that a hair on your windshield or is that the windshield wiper? We're gonna need some clarification here.
I don't know. I don't want to tell any stories about the show we're going to Saturday.
Oh, that
You never
bad.
know
Huh?
who's watching.
That bad.
But we're like, yeah, we're probably just going to go in, pop around, buy some stuff, and then leave.
We've got one like that here in Florida that has a bit of a stigma tied to the person that is running it, and every time somebody I know that goes over there to the show, it never fails that they come back with, I guess they got like a clique or whatever, and whoever's in their clique wins everything, and nobody else gets anything. So,
Yeah.
and I won't damn the show by naming it, but if you're in the southeast area, I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about.
That's unfortunate when that stuff happens.
Yeah, sucks.
What's really sad is that I was actually accused of that
Oh, no way.
with our IPMS show. And I was accused of it by people that just wanted to cause trouble. It was completely unfounded. Yeah.
Yeah, anybody that knows BG knows that he ain't gonna pull that hat trick.
Nope.
Listen, I got him all drunked up at Acme hoping to get one of the poker chips, and he just walked by with his nose in the air. He didn't even look at my stuff. He was like, "Nope, I'm trying not to vomit." I'm like, yeah,
Mike,
I heard
you didn't have to get him drunk. He wouldn't do it anyway.
you're lucky, Mike. I've heard BG's known to spit at stuff. Garbage off the table.
Like a llama.
Out of here.
Like a llama.
Yeah. Awful.
Yeah, Fred, I think you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not damning anybody because I haven't had any personal experience. I'm only going off what guys like yourself have told me, Fred. So, yeah, that's the guy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to try an HO chat. No freaking way. Do those have photo etch windshield wipers? I would. That would suck. All right.
But I did.
What was the brand of HO scale? There was a brand of HO scale cars that
Bachmann?
they were really, really detailed. No, Bachmann Bachmann, you could get a package of like 12 of them for $397 when I was a kid.
Okay, let's see.
But these were from Germany, and I had one. It was a Porsche 911. It was beautiful. But I remember it. I had to do like three funerals in order to afford it as an altar boy.
So
I'm glad that you clarified that.
You know, I only remember Bachmann and Walters and a couple. Gosh,
I think it was European, but I don't think it was it wasn't Markland.
Okay. Gosh, you got me. I haven't been in the HO world since my dad passed away, which was 2011.
It might have been like Markland adjacent. I forget the name of it though, but they were beautiful. And my local hobby shop had an entire display case of them. They were locked in a display case because they were that nice.
They were that nice, yeah.
Yeah. The Bachmans were just carded and like thrown on a.
Yeah, you're right. Remember those.
What about Athearn? Athearn. Chet from Billboard's Bills was
Athearn.
Athearn? Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Athearn.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that brand.
I know nothing about them small kits. I know that Revell came out with the 30. What is it? The 35th scale? Yeah, the little snap togethers. That's the only ones I know about.
Those were those repops of the Airfix kits.
I don't know. I think they're pretty old kits, whatever they were.
Because Airfix has a really full line of 1/32 scale model cars. Got some cool stuff too, like Aston Martins and.
When I was a kid, there was It was Monogram that made 1/32nd scale, and it was
What
part
was
of
that?
like this monthly. Who's a face? Atlantis. They just recently released a 1/32nd scale Nova. That was one of the. It was one of the subjects that would come in the mail. You
Young
get one or
Builders
two,
Club,
something like that. Yeah.
brown
My
box
mother.
with brown print.
Yes.
Yeah, buddy.
And the Bell 206 helicopter that they're coming out with I think it's coming out this year. I think that was one of them also. But I remember the Nova because I was impressed that it had such a detailed engine for a small scale, and it melted up perfect so that it looked like I wrapped it around a pole. I was a rotten kid.
Well, Frank, it turns out we were both right. This is the Revell 57 Ford 1/32nd scale snapped together. And then Monogram, I don't have them all, but I do have a 1/32nd scale Monogram snapped together kit. So I guess it looks like both of them produced them.
I was
I think
gifted
the Monogram
this.
stuff was a lot of their NASCAR stuff because they were real big into NASCAR in the 1/24th.
Hey, Mike.
Scale. Sorry?
I was gifted this by a friend of mine.
Oh, wow. Hang on just a second. I got to get a close look at that.
Her name was Lola. I don't
Yeah.
want to get you
Awesome. Oh, that is
I
cool.
think this is the car that the GT40 was based on.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks a
correctly.
lot
But yeah,
like
this
it.
is an oldie.
That is so cool. And that's a 32nd scale, too?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it does look a lot like the Ford, doesn't it?
But it looks like it's all there. I'm going to have to dig into this guy and build it up. A friend of mine gave it to me. But it looks like it's very much a slot car style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of basic, but still all there.
Yeah, exactly. That's
that-
me. Kind of
is that-
basic, but still all there.
Is that molded in that color, or did they already paint it?
No, this is molded in this color.
Nice.
That really cool metallic blue that Monogram
Yeah.
used to do.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's cool.
Oh, I'm thinking maybe just I don't know, maybe give it a polish and away we go.
Decals and set it up. I'll throw this out there to the chat and maybe to you guys. I don't know why. I guess we all do it, right? Go through these different phases. I've been looking at the Shelby Daytona cars, the old school. Was it 65, 66? Been looking for a good kit of those. Does anybody know? I've seen I believe it's Revell that makes one, but I was wondering if there was any more out there, like maybe a Tamiya or one of those.
Shelby Daytona.
I don't know that answer, but I think I should have put some bourbon in my coffee.
Shelby Daytona.
Kate Nelson, you're right. I do. I'm working off my iPhone camera. I do need to get a better camera. I'm working on that. I was telling the guys behind the screens here earlier that I'm investing in a computer to where I can get a good camera. I've already got a really nice set of lav mics coming, so I'm trying to up my game. Y'all just try to work with me. I'm
Be
getting
patient. He ain't made of money. Get off his back about it.
Yeah, pull your jets, Turbo.
I think you need to change your name to the Blurry Modeler.
The blurry modeler.
Yeah, the
that's
blurry
right.
modeler.
It's not his fault. He's using a potato to broadcast from.
It's a potato. Listen, if I wrap aluminum foil around the antenna and hold it just right, it'll get better. I promise.
He's got a camera with just a camera lens with 2 potatoes plugged into it for power.
That's it.
Exactly.
There's gonna be a petition that goes around the community. Buy Mike a new camera and make
Right.
sure he gives his old phone to Frank so we don't have to look at his face next.
The GoFundMe, right?
That's it. Somebody's going to send me a $high tower with one condition. I have to give my phone to Frank so he can use it.
A high dollar
Chat,
tower.
congratulations. Today is Chat's 1 year YouTube anniversary. So congrats, Chat.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Speaking of anniversaries, y'all know what tomorrow is?
I do.
Monday.
It's Outlaw's birthday.
That's right. I celebrate 54 years. I don't know how I made
On
it this far,
YouTube?
but I did.
Holy shit.
I know, right? Which explains the camera.
Exactly.
And listen, the first picture they ever took of me was with the camera I'm using right now. It's one
Right?
of those.
Yeah, I
One of those
imagine it was like
wait,
on
wait,
the
I'll
on
shake
the.
it. If I shake it, maybe it'll get clear.
I was thinking more like on the Flintstones with the bird that just sticks up its its feather and then.
Cuckoo.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Thank you,
Which one do
Tiffany.
you
I
guys
appreciate
want
that.
to win?
Thank you, chat.
Yeah, tomorrow's Mike's birthday. Remember, make your checks to cash.
Right, make them out to cash. Exactly. We don't need to be paying taxes on our gifts.
Taxation is theft.
It is taxation without representation.
No. Just taxation is theft.
Wow, I didn't cut that right at all. Good job, Beachy.
You'll get that on them big jobs.
God damn it.
Okay.
Michael the motorcycle. I hadn't heard that one in a long time ago. But that was
Turn
that
that key and watch him pee.
It's that. Then the other one was let's get Mikey. Yeah, he'll eat it.
Yeah.
That was all well and good until I got into high school, and then nobody was saying that shit no more.
I get yelled at. He just said that, but I get yelled at.
Uh-huh.
I alluded to.
That's true.
And besides,
deniability.
Jason's not here to drive the bus today, so you know it's going to go off the rails.
That's true.
Buses don't drive on rails?
Uh-oh. I see there. I'm completely confused.
That's what we call a train?
Yeah, but you don't see
or a trolley. God damn it.
I, didn't have the best hearing. Still probably don't, according to Mrs. BG. But I remember listening to, oh my God, Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. For years, I thought it was going off the rails on a gravy train. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. And then one day I read the
biscuit wheels.
Yes, exactly. Well, I was thinking about the Purina commercials that used to have the cowboys running through the house that the dog would chase after.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that commercial used to scare the shit out of me. I don't know why. It used to scare the shit out of me. That, and at the end of every episode of The Incredible Hulk, when Bill Bixby was walking away and they played that piano song, I would cry.
Yeah.
I still do.
I would cry.
Talking about. That was the intention.
Yep.
Make you feel
get all misty eyed.
Incredible Hulk has feelings.
You won't like me when I'm angry.
Right. Well, you won't like me when I'm hungry.
You remember the 3/4 t-shirts that you used to get? I call them 3/4 t-shirts because they had 3/4 sleeves that come down to about here on you. When we were kids,
yes, they're called raglans. RAGLAN.
Okay, we always knew them as we knew them as 3/4, but
wow.
Justin
Ryan checking in with some obscure fashion knowledge.
There you go. You didn't know in a former life that he was a fashionologist.
There was a kid in my junior high they called 3/4, but I never found out why. Hopefully he's not listening.
Anyway, mine, I had the green one with the white, had green sleeves, the green collar, and the white in the front with a number 5 on the front. And I was at school one day and somebody made me mad, so I turned into the Incredible Hulk. I took my hands and grabbed the end of the sleeves and just tore the sleeves off at the shoulder. I thought I was Billy Badbutt till I got home, and my mother was like, "That's a brand new school shirt. You'll not be turning into the Incredible Hulk anymore, or I'm going to smash your ass."
Wasn't there a thing in the 1980s where moms wanted to get Hulk Hogan to stop ripping his shirt off? Because
I didn't doubt it.
Emulating that.
There was a lot of stupid shit like that going on in the 80s.
Yeah.
How about this, Mom? Stop getting drunk. Okay, folks,
Right.
parents,
Right.
stop getting drunk in front of your kids. Let's start there. We'll worry about Hulk Hogan later.
Hey, Mom,
Baby
stop
steps.
licking your ash in my Kool-Aid, please. I appreciate
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
How about belting your kids in first, and then we'll work our way up.
Work our way up.
The 80s were great.
They were though.
Definitely had less to worry about. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you could ride in the
'Cause we were younger.
You could ride in the package tray in the back window of the car back then.
Yep.
Nobody said a word to you. You were in an accident, you were gone. You were going out one of the windows, but hey, it was a great place to sleep.
Oh, well, if you got into an accident, I had on collision, the people in the front of the car would poke through the windshield long before you got there, so you're good.
Right? They poked a hole for you. You're good to go.
Yep. All you had to do was just yell, coming through, make a hole.
Beep beep. Make a
Big
little
Mike inbound.
Yeah, but I'm with Frank. Let's not smoke 2 packs a day on a road trip. And
Yeah.
two parents in the front seat smoking 2 packs a day as you're riding down the road, headed to Wisconsin on vacation.
I learned to drive when I was 10 years old. Well, not really drive. My father did the gas and the brake, but I had to steer the car back from the beer distributor every weekend. Take the wheel, Frank.
Oh, my.
Take the wheel, Frank. All right, I got it, Dad. Up Forest Avenue.
Good old days.
And technically, if cop pulls you over, you're like, hey, he's the one doing the looking. He's steering. I'm just here.
Give
Yeah,
him the goddamn ticket.
It was back in the days where they would have just told him to park the car and walk home.
Right. Whereas, you could have been like, hey, in 40 years, these things will be doing it themselves. You don't have to worry about this. These cars will be doing it themselves.
Yeah, that's it. They're not far from it now.
Nope.
They're not far from it now.
We got a rental car when we were up in Colorado, and used to be you get into a rental car, you fix the seat, set the steering wheel height, change, check your mirrors, make sure you're not going to run over anything like a cow or something weird, and then head out on the turn yourself loose in the traffic. And nowadays it's like, all right, switch off the driver assist thing, switch off the lane departure assist thing, switch off the crash avoidance system, because every time you head towards a parked car, the car wants to freak out.
Yep, exactly right.
So we always try to rent the same type of car whenever we go.
What kind of car was it?
Not to relearn it.
It was a Daihatsu.
We got a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Yeah, that's got all the bells and whistles on it, especially the
And
new ones.
And then it had like the hybrid system in it too. So the guy's like, don't, it might sound like it's not running, but really it is. So don't worry about it. I'm like, that's the weirdest advice I've ever gotten. But okay.
Yeah, they shut off at the stoplight and all that, saving gas. Okay, if you say so.
But I had to run that thing because we're doing a lot of freeway driving, so I had to run that thing on the gas engine most of the time because the battery would run down so fast. I'm like, this is supposed to be helpful?
Right. Please explain this to me in better detail because I'm not finding it helpful at all.
Well, we're driving along and the car starts making all these weird chiming and dinging things. I'm like, it's trying to communicate with me, but I don't know what. Then you look down look down at the little page, and there's a little, there's a number 1 with the less than symbol in front of it. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, here we go. High school math. Yeah, this is a less than 1% battery. Okay, we have to switch this off. Like, do I have to use the order of operation to figure out how much mileage I have going on here? Oh, that looks terrible. I love it.
We had bought back in 2005. We had bought a Ford Escape Hybrid when they first came out.
Yeah.
It did like we got twice the amount of mileage, but always looming, and we got a $5,000 tax credit. But always looming over our head was at the time a new battery costs $4,000. Like the hybrid battery costs
Oh my gosh.
$4,000, and the disposal fee cost $1,000 because they're nickel metal hydride batteries, which are
Yep.
like really they gotta really do a lot to get rid of those things. And we were relieved that at about and not for nothing, we put 160,000 miles on that thing going back and forth to Brooklyn.
Jesus.
Finally, my son started using it. We had gotten another car. The car we bought for him, we kept for ourselves, and we gave him. He wrapped it around a pole. We didn't have to worry about the battery disposal fee or replacing it because he totaled it.
He
Thanks
found
for
a
handling
loophole.
that, son. I wish you had done it without
did. He
wrapping
found-
it around the
he
tree.
found-
But
He found the battery disposal fee loophole.
Yeah, it was a loophole or a loophole.
Well, what was weird, he hit the pole on the campus of the college he was going to. They never put a claim against our insurance, nothing. It's like it didn't even, like my insurance was like, we never heard anything from the school. Good.
Wow.
Don't call him.
Did he graduate?
Yeah.
Even better. So I said they won't release my records for some reason. Go fix that pole. Let's see, swamp cabbage. You wanted to know about the sanding sticks? I freaking love these things. They're very, very handy.
What is it?
Swamp cabbage.
yep, swamp cabbage.
That's awesome.
Now, does anybody know what swamp cabbage is?
I got a sneaking suspicion you do, and I probably don't want to.
I
It
think
sounds
you know
gnarly.
too, but you just know it under a different name. Swamp cabbage is heart of palm. That's how they sell it up north, and out west is heart of palm. But it's basically it's a palm tree, and in the center of it, you can eat. It's almost like a cabbage type texture, but it's called heart of palm. Is if you look it up or whatever. I've seen it canned. I've never seen it sold. Like a lettuce head or whatever. But that's kind of what it looks like.
Okay. Well, that's a lot better than I feared it would be.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot worse, that's for sure.
Swamp cabbage sounds like a disease. What happened? I went to Mardi Gras and I got swamp cabbage.
Do they have a cream for that? I don't know.
An antibiotic.
Well, it's definitely creamy.
For that. Yep, survival food for the crackers pre-post Civil War. Yep, exactly right. But they couldn't call it swamp cabbage when they mass produced it. They had to call it heart of palm.
Well, that makes more sense. I mean, there are a lot of food names out there that will draw you in thinking you're about to have something really, really tasty and find out that is something you should just run from. Like
perfect
sweetbreads?
example, Rocky Mountain oysters. The first
Well, I
time
was
you
gonna
hear
say
that, like,
sweetbread.
that sounds good till you find out what it is.
Right, yeah. It's just a meatball, right? No.
I'm all for trying that. It's fried.
A Scotch
Nice.
egg
Tastes
sounds
better
like
when
something
it's
that's going to
fried.
be absolutely tasty. Nope.
Caviar. Translation: fish eggs.
Yeah, salty fish eggs. No
Would-
I
salt
like
added.
caviar.
No
Would
salt
they-
added. That's a lie.
Should it be any other way?
I'll be right back.
I'll be left front.
There was when we lived in Brooklyn in Brighton Beach, there was a little shop called the Caviar Kiosk. You could get all different kinds. It was a very Russian neighborhood.
Right.
So they had Iranian caviar, they had Russian caviar. It was amazing. First time I ever had caviar. A tin of it must have fallen off a Pan Am flight going into JFK, and somehow it wound up in my father's hands. Meanwhile, my father's a deacon in the Catholic Church, but he trafficked in stolen goods on a frequent basis when I was a kid. People would just give him stuff. So he brought it home, and we tasted it, and they were like, well, what do we do? Like my parents had no idea. What do you put this on? Like, what kind of cracker? Like, because back then there was saltines, Ritz, End of list.
They didn't even have Townhouse yet?
Maybe, but Townhouse was like basically oval shaped Ritz crackers.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
Very much.
They didn't get fancy till they got rectangular. Oh gosh.
All right.
And it wasn't until they were older that they were like, yeah, you should put egg salad, capers, stuff like that. My father had this thing about eating weird stuff. Like he would try anything. Like you had mentioned sweetbread before, BG. My father tried that. He said it was disgusting.
Was he a depression baby?
No, he was born in 1942.
No, he could still be depressed.
Yeah, my grandfather was absolutely a little bit depressed because my grandmother was a bit much.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's it. Live and uncensored. Chopper's Model Works brings up cow's tongue. Now, I used to shy away from that, but I had a cow's tongue taco one time.
I tried it.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, that's my single biggest failing. You put it on a taco shell, geez, I'll eat it.
What do you mean? We're eating monkey brain tacos? I'm in. Let's go.
Oh, monkey brains. Don't knock those, dude. Those are great.
No thanks.
Especially when you're in an Indian palace.
Yeah. Oh, chilled monkey brain surprise.
Chilled monkey brains.
I'm going to pass on the monkey brains. I mean, you guys
Oh,
are more welcome.
it was snake surprise.
Snake surprise.
Tripe. I do like tripe.
That's
what was his name? Smith? Not Smith. The guy that did all the meat packing in Chicago back in the day on a pig. He said, we use everything but the squeal.
Well, they're doing it wrong then.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever eaten head cheese?
No, and I will not.
No.
There's a butcher in the New York area. There's a couple of them, but one of the more famous ones was
There's a couple.
Carlima, and it was like he would make German like charcuterie products.
Yeah.
So one of the things that they would make, head cheese is what's known as an aspic, aspic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they would make one that was meant to be sliced thick and served with a vinaigrette, capers, and like a sliced hard-boiled egg. In this restaurant in my neighborhood called Gebhardt's. Well, there's a famous German restaurant in a little further east of me called Zum Stammtisch. That's a famous German restaurant. And they have it too. They would have it as an appetizer. I eat it to this day. My father, like, he would get me to try like weird foods and stuff.
Yeah, I actually looked it up. The term cheese doesn't necessarily mean a milk product. It's an actual form of food.
Yeah,
That's why it's
coagulation.
called cheese. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Like in the British, a pudding is anything that's like steamed or baked or something like that.
Right.
There's a German thing that they used to make in my neighborhood. It was called Leberkäse. And technically translated from the German is liver cheese. It's a coagulation of liver.
That still sounds
actually
funky.
Pretty good.
Liver cheese.
But it tastes pretty good. It's almost like a meatloaf.
Did you say lever? Did you say lever or Lieber?
Leberkäse.
Okay, because
Leber
Lieber is like heart or something like that.
Yeah. Leberkäse.
I just
Leber.
want to tell Billboard Builds to shut his filthy mouth. Scrapple is God's food.
Easy. I like Scrapple, but I will not eat head cheese. I'm not a big cheese guy anyway.
It's not cheese, it's meat.
It's not cheese. It's like gelatin, chunks of meat and gelatin.
Were you not listening, Mike?
I was listening.
He doesn't listen. He doesn't even watch my channel. Ever since I made fun of that hat.
I am not eating it.
Ever since the first time I made fun of that hat, he hasn't watched my channel.
Frank, when did you start a channel? I didn't know.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, if you've seen my numbers lately, you ain't kidding.
Oh,
Well,
you
mine
and me
too. I
both.
put up that RC car video and got like 15 views. I was like, well, that didn't go over.
Yeah.
I always think of Bob Uecker from the movie Major League.
Yeah. Dynamite
Judging
dropping,
by the numbers,
Bobby.
you haven't.
That broadcasting school's really paying off. Hey, Billboard Builds pork roll that's some good shit too. But dude, nice pan fried slice of scrapple on a toast with scrambled eggs and American cheese. Ooh yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
What is
Scrapple?
Scrapple? I
Scrapple
know I've heard of it, but I forget.
It's a German thing. It's basically cornmeal and scraps, kind of all mushed, and then you pan fry it, and oh my god, crispy outside, creamy inside. Oh,
It sounds like a hush puppy.
A lot of the
really.
delis in my neighborhood would do that with like the ends of the cold cuts. They'd put them in a processor, I guess, and then make them into like meatballs and fry them.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
Scrapple it's like leftovers from butchering the pig.
Oh, okay.
They kind of just make it into a cornmeal mash, and then shape it into a loaf, and then you pan fry it, and oh yeah.
If you're just joining us now in the chat or just watching this video, this is actually a show about building model cars.
It really is.
I figured I'd throw that out there.
Right?
About building model cars.
We're all kind of fat old guys, right?
I think the four of us need to start a completely different channel and just do a cooking show.
Exactly.
Well,
Well, that could be the next community question. What do you eat while you're building your models?
Before I got into auto body, I spent 10 years in food service.
You shouldn't be eating anything while you're building your models, to be honest with you, especially
Especially
if you're
What? No ribs while you're doing your painting? Come on, man. A little barbecue sauce on your primer. That paint will go right over it. Help smooth it out. All that grease.
I tell you what, the first 48-hour group build I participated in, I made the mistake of ordering a pizza and having that sit next to me while I was working. And half of my time was spent cleaning up the greasy fingerprints on the car body.
So you didn't have Dawn dish soap that you could have just washed at the beginning and saved all of your clean throughout the entire build process?
I wasn't making that fat YouTube money back then, so I couldn't afford fancy products like that.
Well, you only have to wash it once and you're good for the entire process.
Yeah, and also apparently baby ducks show up and help you like clean things or stuff. According to their commercials.
Why is that a controversy as far as like I guess a lot of things that were in fine scale modeler in the 80s became controversial at some point, like where you take the parts out of the kit and you got to wash them first, and then suddenly that became controversial. I understand, like they got rid of they for the most part have gotten rid of mold release for the injection molding process, but even still, like my fingers are mostly bacon grease. So by the time I'm finished cleaning up the parts and everything, I have to clean them. Like I literally have to put them in a little Tupperware and clean them off just to get my oil from my skin off of them. Otherwise, I get fish eyes. I like the paint won't adhere at all.
Interesting, because I've never. And the only time I wash a parts is when I'm stripping chrome and I got to get the easy off so it doesn't burn my freaking flesh. But like I'll eat pizza while I'm building and whatnot. I just give everything a wipe down with alcohol and use lacquer-based primer before I start, and boom, I'm good.
Well, that's what I started
most of the time
doing.
I don't even wear gloves.
That's what I started doing with my stuff. Is I gave it a wipe down with alcohol before I spray it. This resin car body, I actually did a wipe down with alcohol, and then gave it a quick shot of primer. Didn't have any issues with it, and that's this is a resin that's like diesel based or some crazy crap.
Wow.
No, seriously, Lucas E was telling me about that. He's like, yeah, that's old school. That's gonna have diesel fuel in it or something, and this stuff smells weird if you sand it. Anyway, that's me.
Where'd
You're not
your
supposed
diesel
not
resin?
supposed to smell resin dust.
Yeah,
Deep sniffs.
that can't be good for you. I
Diesel
use
or not.
to wipe my stuff down with. I use Scale Finishes anti-static plastic cleaner, but I was just sniffing it, just to see if it was alcohol. It doesn't smell like alcohol, but I don't know what it is, but it works well.
You mean this stuff?
Yep.
What is it?
It's I don't know what it's made out of, but
It's soapy
Jameson
water
over
in
at
it too.
Scale Finishes sells it. It's anti-static plastic
Yeah.
cleaner used for cleaning plastic parts before priming.
It's soapy water in a tube.
It probably is soapy water, too. But it comes
I
with some
got
really
the-
nice cotton.
I got to meet Jameson at the Colorado show.
Did you?
Yeah, really cool
I've
guy.
not met him yet. He's a cool dude, man.
I think he's talking about getting out to Acme someday.
Woohoo! That'd be cool. That would be cool.
I don't think that might not have been a secret. I don't know.
Well, if it was, it ain't now. We had him on the Thursday show early on in our adventure, and what a great guy, man! Just real helpful. Thought he knows his products, and just a real good guy.
Yep, he's good, and his wife is extremely knowledgeable about their products as well. She's a pip.
She's the thing. They live in Utah, correct? Yeah, I think they live in Salt Lake.
Up there in the right outside of Salt Lake.
Hey guys,
Right.
Kay Nelson just posted up. Guys, what's the stupidest advice you've ever heard from model builders?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, I got one.
Okay,
You
go.
should do this hobby.
Check out this inexpensive hobby I discovered.
Uh-huh.
The stupidest advice I've ever gotten in the model hobby. Wow, that is a great question.
All right. Years and years
There's a lot
ago,
out there.
and years ago, I was building a big rig, and I was talking about how I used tulip fabric paint because it's kind of, I don't know, the black stuff kind of, when it dries, kind of leaves an oily look to it. So I used that to put on the fifth wheel of the truck to make it look like somebody just squirted some grease on there, right? And I did that. I talked about that in my video, and this guy says, I don't know why you're wasting money on that. You should have just used real grease. And I'm like, are you real? What's going on right now?
Is this guy joking me? Is this guy joking?
Yeah. I'm like,
That would never work because you washed your kit with Dawn first.
right. It just slid right off.
It's right off.
You have to go decals.
Fred said that Justin's best advice that he ever received was paint with Rust-Oleum.
No.
No. Frank, I think I cut you off. What was yours?
You have to gloss before decals. That you must, absolutely must,
Absolutely, unequivocally, yes,
must. And that came basically from that came about when people started using airbrushes in modeling more. It was as airbrushing and modeling became a thing. You have to understand that at the time, most people, if they were painting their models with an airbrush, it was out of an external mix, single action, siphon feed, airbrush.
glorified spray can.
Yeah.
So
out of an
that was-
unregulated compressor, diaphragm compressor, 40 PSI. And they were shooting testers thinned with testers thinner
Mhm.
from
Yep.
near Earth orbit, so that by the time it hit their model, it looked like Velcro.
Yeah, because it was
So
drying. It was drying on its way to the model.
Yeah, it was
that
drying
was
on it.
awesome.
It was drying on its way up the airbrush, like up the siphon. It was practically dry. There was so much involved, and because of that, when like you're laying decals on top of that, it's like you're putting them on stilts. So naturally, when they dry, they're gonna silver.
Show everything.
Silvering, silvering was a problem. So God forbid you sand your paintwork. Why would you do that? Silly. Let's go get some floor wax. And at the time, there wasn't really a modeling specific acrylic clear.
Yeah.
And the good thing, a lot of people don't realize about acrylic clear, you can spray enamel over acrylic clear. It'll work fine. You could, I don't know if you could get a high gloss like a 2K or a lacquer clear out of Future. But you can get a pretty nice enough gloss out of it. And does it help? Yeah. Or you could just use you could use proper paint spraying technique, or from the get-go spray with gloss paints. This way you forego that. You need a not necessarily a gloss finish, but you need a smooth finish for your decals. And like the rigid, like we don't deal with a lot of that as much as car modelers, but in other genres you deal with that.
Oh my God,
lot.
yeah. Yep.
A lot. Like you go onto an Airfix forum, and if you tell them, like I brush painted, I fondly remember growing up, my father using my head as a beer coaster, and I would be brush painting Humbrol, and then the thinners and all this other stuff, and like, well, you're gonna gloss, you're gonna use clear varnish, right? Before you put no. What? It was like you just smacked their sister. Like, and like this dogma sets in, and it had a grip where, like, a lot of these guys, they then left the hobby, and the hobby moved on without them, and then they returned to the hobby, and they think that the orthodoxy of the 70s and the 80s still apply now.
Orange testers, tube cement, and all that shit.
Yeah, and they're like, where is it? What happened? Yeah. The hobby that used to be so cheap for me to fail at is still pretty cheap for me to fail at, but people have gotten a lot better. Like, they're usually the ones who think things are overweathered.
Yep. Or the hobby is dying.
The hobby's dying. Kids don't like modeling because they can't. Games. They need the instant gratification of video games and stuff.
That's not true.
Chill, dude. That's because they read the letters to the editor in Fine Scale Modelers and Scale Auto Enthusiast, which was the curmudgeon factory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the curmudgeon factory.
It was just like their life is miserable. They never advance towards a particular. They're not interested, and they see all these other people moving past them, and then suddenly, whoa, what are you doing? Trying to build for you? You built for you. And while you're at it, here's some shitty advice.
Yep.
And stick to it, because if you vary from it, me and people like me are going to be all over you. Those are the gatekeepers.
Yep.
And go ahead.
Our buddy Will Pattison, everybody's favorite modeling internet fan. He's actually done tests on his videos where he has put down decals over different grits of sandpaper.
On sandpaper.
With no silvering.
No silvering. Yeah.
So,
and I love the music he has playing in the background while he does it. He has like this whistling song going on, like as he's applying decals to sandpaper.
And I would, to piggyback on Frank, the stupidest advice is anything where there's absolutes.
Yes. Agreed.
Any advice that tells you must do this, this, that, this, that, this. Nope. Wrong. It's already been proven. There's no such thing as an absolute. Fuck off.
There's absolutely no such thing as an absolute.
No.
Absolutely.
Mine is very similar. Mine ends with anything that ends with been doing it for 30 years and never had a problem.
Oh God, don't trigger me.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, that's what the Rust-Oleum battles I get involved in is all about. It's not the paint that's used, it's the never had a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they show the picture.
And
And
you got a
Yeah.
problem, you just don't know it.
Apparently, you didn't know you had a problem because what the?
That's if the picture doesn't look like it was taken across a dark room while the
Yeah.
model's in a china closet.
with a Polaroid
With a
Yeah.
Polaroid,
during an eclipse.
a Polaroid potato.
Yeah, a Polaroid powered by a potato.
People who appeal to their own authority. Well,
Yeah.
I've been building for 50 years. Who gives a shit?
Right, exactly.
Nobody. So you've been building for 50 years. What do you do it as a job? Because if you
And-
did it as a job, you wouldn't be on forums talking about it. You know what I don't do? You know what I don't do in my free time? Talk about working for the phone company. I don't
Right.
do that. Like there's
Exactly.
Facebook groups like devoted to it.
Yeah.
I won't go anywhere near them. It's the last thing I want to talk about is work when I get home. I used to have this conversation with the guy that ran Nagging Gas Hobbies, which was the local hobby shop when I was a kid. And I would say to him, Eddie, what do you build? He goes, I don't do any of this stuff. And I go, really? He goes, when I first started working here, yeah, I loved, radio control cars and all that stuff. He goes, you don't go home and work on phones, do you? I said, no, I absolutely do not.
No.
Yep.
It's the last thing I want to do. So, appealing to your 50 years of experience,
Right.
what does
Guess
that
what?
mean?
50 years ago, the modeling technology was totally different, and you
Yeah.
didn't change with it.
Sluggo
You have
asked
the
a good-
hubris of somebody who doesn't know better.
Exactly.
Sluggo
Super
asked a
glue.
good question too. It seems that
Super
model
glue.
contests, those of us that go to model contests, seems that model contests want that unrealistic look as it refers to 2K clears and clear coats. Why do you guys think that and they are? I mean, I can actually can relate to that the clear coat. Well, paint jobs in general, but the clear coat especially, they seem to be leaning more towards that. Do we think that that's? I know that the weathering thing is coming in, and we got to nail BG down to do a weathering demo for us on the channel one day. But do you think that's something it's going to come and go, or is that something that's been around for a long time? I've not been going
No,
to model contests for a long
2K is going to stay.
People like shiny shit.
It's the execution of it though. So when you see somebody like Lewis Hicks, and I get made fun of for using this, he has thin depth to his paint jobs. So you can tell that and he does it's what he does for a living, but he's also like one of the best modelers out there.
Absolutely.
And when you look at what he does with 2K Clear, you're amazed that it's microns of thickness of material on there. Meanwhile, you look at my 2K Clear, I'm surprised the model doesn't roll off the desk like a football because it's on there so thick. And
it's like M&M's, thin candy
Yeah.
shell.
Yeah,
Well-
it is. It's like a candy coated shell. It's like biting into a gobstopper. That's how thick I lay it on. But it's still shiny.
Yeah.
So even though like you can almost at the corners and at the peaks, you can almost see through the clear and see like a transparency. It's still, but there's a lot to be said for if you can do that with a lacquer clear and then do some nice wet sanding and polishing with a lacquer clear. It's going to come out looking not necessarily like a show car. It's not going to have that depth, but it's going to have that deep shine and reflectivity that you want. So with 2K, I would focus more on using 2K for non-stock builds that necessarily weren't like if you're doing replica stock from the 60s.
Hey, you're not gonna have
Right.
that.
That's not where you want it.
Yeah, that's not where
No,
you want 2K. But that doesn't mean you can't use it.
Yeah,
It's
But
just-
at the same time, you want to go for a scale shine, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And cars from the 60s and stuff, those had what, single stage paint back then?
Typically, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, usually
and
they
like
weren't-
enamel of some sort.
Right.
Yeah, and they had runs. If you looked in the engine compartment, a lot of them had runs in there because
Yeah.
Overspray everywhere. I mean,
yeah,
these guys that
overspray
are
everywhere.
rebuilding those cars from back in the day now, the 1-to-1s, they're literally, they're going as far as doing the overspray. And then the guy that was, his job was to take the crayon and mark the bolt tight, or, this is put on, and, they've done their research to figure out that, on Wednesdays at the Chrysler plant when they were building Roadrunners or whatever, that some guy whose initials were DS worked that day. So this car was built on Wednesday, and DS used to sign on the corner of the oil pan that he's the one, he signed off on it, right? He was the inspection guy. They get into that
Yeah.
stuff, man. They really, really do. I mean, it's a bit much for what we're doing, but I suppose if you get into it, you get into it.
The real answer is we need to change the stigma of model shows to model shows, not model competitions.
That
Thank
was
you.
going to be that was another question I was going to lead into.
It kind of leads to the point that what are we, athletes? You know what I mean? Like, why is my Panther tank going to compete, quote unquote, against someone's freaking B-17? It's not. It's not a competition.
Right.
We need to change it to more of a juried exhibition where modelers are judged for what they present, not for how good is it compared to the one next to them.
And like I said, that leads into my next question, which was, if you had an opportunity to go to a show that wasn't judged, just an expert, maybe you get judged, or you're like BG has the chips, and I know that Insanity has the chips. Maybe you get a chip from somebody that admires what you've done or whatever, but it's basically just like a show and tell, or a show and shine, if you will. I know that BG's brought it up on, or that's been brought up on their podcast, and I asked Chuck about it Thursday on ours, but me personally, I would love to be, as long as people would show up, and it'd be a good thing. Because for me, when I go to a show, I'm more about the camaraderie, because I'm not going to win any medals anyway. So I'm more about hanging out with my friends, having fun. And if I can get if I can get a BG, a Frank, a Justin to look at my model and be like, hey, how'd you do that, man? I really like that. To me, that's an award-winning, that's an award-winning thing. If I can get recognition from my peers and people that I respect, then to me, it's worth more than anything.
So I am starting to see a paradigm shift. A lot of shows now are going to what's called the open system, or a gold, silver, bronze, rather than a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And what that is you're judged by what the judges see in front of them, not what's next to the one next to yours.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they will judge your model for what they see. You left a seam line on your tank barrel. All right, you're going to get gigged on that. If you didn't, and you did a spectacular job, they actually will they'll grade you and then give you the award that matches the grade you got.
Right.
Yeah, and the pushback for something like that, the pushback for something like that is going to be like, it's everybody gets a participation trophy, which is bullshit.
But then you go to an IPMS where they have infinite number of splits.
Yeah.
You know what
splits
I mean?
until everybody gets a trophy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So
splits and quits. Yep.
My club is the MFCA club. It's a figure club. We are a juried exhibition. It's an open system where you are awarded the skill level you have presented. And it's not a participation award. Everybody, you may get a gold, you may get a silver, you may get a certificate of excellence, which is under bronze. You know what I mean? And it's more rewarding for the modeler, because they can come back again next year and see how they've improved, or if they didn't improve.
Right. Hey, do you have any information about AMPS? Are you familiar with those guys at all?
I am.
I just read an email from my friend Robert Judson about how AMPS goes about doing theirs. So they have a tiered system. So if you win in a particular level, then you move up to the next level. So you're not competing. You don't have your Chuck Fellners competing with your BGs, type of thing.
Well, that's the thing. It's still not a competition. So just because somebody does a quote unquote better model than you doesn't mean that you're going to be judged any differently. But they do have it where it's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So
that's
when you gold medal in whatever, say you've never built a model before, so you enter in the beginner. If you gold medal in beginner, the next year you enter in intermediate. So my first AMPS national show, which was last year in South Bend, I'm not really a big armor modeler, so I didn't know where to go. I mean, I feel like I'm a good modeler, but not ever entering into a national show like that. I entered all my stuff in intermediate just because. Now, Rob Riv yelled at me for it, but I got two silvers and a gold. That means this year, anything I enter in, I have to enter in advanced. Is how it is.
Yeah,
and
that's how you know you're improving.
I actually like that a lot better.
Me too. I like that. Yeah, it sounds that like you said, Chuck or BG. You don't have a Chuck competing against a Mike, because he's a much better builder, and
But that's the thing; it's not even a competition. So
yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
The things that I've witnessed over the years are things like somebody saying, this Cooper is nice, but I would have liked to have seen a little more gloss on it.
Yeah.
I'm marking them down. It's like, whoa. What do you mean?
No,
you would like to have seen me do that. That's a personal judgment rather than an actual,
exactly.
How well did he do it? That was his level of execution. And that's something that we have a lot of problem with here, with one of the car groups, one of the rival car groups we have here, is they want to judge you on your effort or your level of effort on your build rather than your execution, and it gets weird.
Yep.
So it's like you can buy all the photo etch you can afford and slap it on a model, and then somebody comes by and goes, "That looks awesome. I like that." I'm like, "Yeah, but he just opened up a pack of photo etch and dumped it on the model." Yeah. Well, we know what his effort level is. He wanted to make this look better.
There comes an age, though. At a certain age, you should stop being judged on effort, and you have to be judged on what you're presenting.
Yep. Exactly.
You have to be judged on execution.
Exactly.
It's one thing, like if you just started building models at 52 years old and you never built before in your life, and you're a rank beginner like everybody else. Not for nothing, those people are rare. It's rare that in this day and age.
After COVID, it was a little bit heavier, but you're correct.
Yeah.
So the thing that really bothers me is going to a show and somebody going, "I'm gunning for this guy. I'm going to take this guy out. I want to kick this guy's ass." That kind of thing. It's like, well, that's a you thing. I'm there to see how well I've done compared to my last year's entry. That kind of a thing. And I'm competing against myself. Really, can I do better than I did last year? Will I get into a magazine this year? Something like that.
Right.
That's my whole thing. Aside from seeing folks and meeting people and having fun, but building something just so you can destroy somebody else, I don't get that mentality.
I've never seen Chuck's builds in person, but from what I've seen online, he's phenomenal. And I can imagine, like, if you're a hardware hunter and seeing him walk into a contest that you're entered, that would be a very daunting thing to see him come in.
Well, but true.
From what I don't know Chuck personally. I haven't had much interaction with him, but he seems like a nice enough guy where if you walked up to him and said, "Hey, Chuck, how did you do this?" he's going to tell you how he did it.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh,
he's happy to talk to you. Yeah, people who take their hobby that way are taking the hobby in the completely wrong direction. I want to take out Chuck because he's the best. That's right. That's a terrible way to go through life.
I think so too.
It's not fair to Chuck. It's not fair to a guy like Tim Kalenkowicz or Randy Durr. It's not fair to them.
But
I haven't heard that type of thing very often, but it's weird when you hear it.
That is the old school mentality, the same mentality as never had a problem. I still use Tester's tube glue. I'm not telling you how I did that because then you could potentially, quote unquote, beat me at a competition. That's why the competition mindset is fucking stupid. Because why is it a competition? Now, I can see at a national type level show, you know what I mean, where you are looking for to be, like this model was the model. I kind of get that. I still don't agree with it, but I kind of get it. But on average, it's not something, it should not be looked at as a competition. Now, going back to the AMPS shows, the AMPS National Show, and same with ArmorCon, that is an AMPS style show. The judging is done not at the tables. So when you bring your models in, you go to quote unquote the front desk, you check your models in, they take your models and put it in the judge room. And the judges are actually in a room in groups of 4, and they look at your model. And it, not necessarily with flashlights and shit, but they examine your model. They take 2 to 5 minutes on each model. They put notes down and they give you a score. Then your model gets put back on the table, and they have a runner that takes it and puts it out in the category on the table in the display room. And
No running with models.
I like
No
that.
running with models.
But they, you know, yes,
no
yes,
evening
your
dress
stuff,
category either.
your
No.
stuff does get quote unquote handled. But when it's carried on a tray. So, you know, they'll pick it up, put it on a
Frank,
tray.
you want to be a runner? Oh, Jesus Christ.
But that particular style allows the judges to leave some notes, some feedback for the modeler to
I really like
improve the
that.
next time around.
I really like that because at the end of a show, like we were at the Vegas show for their what was it, the regionals a couple years ago, and they had, you know, on the entry forums you could put a little X saying please give me feedback, whatever, right? Well, they were so overwhelmed with the turnout because it was right after COVID was getting over with that they couldn't do that for everybody while they were judging.
Yeah.
So like if they had a separate area you could go to talk to the judges and get some sort of evaluation type of thing, that would have probably worked a little better in their favor. But I did get feedback on one thing, and it was like the clear coat was a little bit cracked on the hood. Other than that, it was a beautiful model. You know, I was like, oh, so I took a closer look at the hood. I'm like, oh my God, my clear coat did crack. I didn't even notice that, you know?
And that's the thing too. Like they don't need to give, you know, a freaking novel in feedback. You know what I mean? Just a couple of words. Hey, I liked what you did here. Pay attention to your seams, or, you know, like it does not have to be, you know, a full teardown of what they did wrong, you know, and it encourages a modeler to improve next time around.
Exactly.
Justin, are you wearing 2 pairs of glasses?
These are they're my reading glasses. So
My God, I thought I had a stroke.
I thought I was seeing double.
Yeah, no, this is so I can read the chat.
Oh my God.
Now,
Scared the hell out of me.
to elaborate on the leave a message or a criticism, as long as you ask for it and as long as it's helpful criticism. I have one horrible example of a friend of mine that went to JaxCon, and without even being asked for helpful criticism, they left a note on his card that said a 10-year-old girl found 5 things wrong with your model. Right. That is not helpful in any way.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And not for nothing, I would take you out in the parking lot and kick your ass if I caught you doing something like that. If I saw you doing something like, hey, come with me. We're taking you outside. We're going to kick your ass for you.
And that is, that is like the opposite of what any modeling shows or any clubs or anything that I've gotten involved in. That is the opposite of what we try to do.
Right.
We want to be encouraging when we do shit, you know, not tear them down like, you know, the person doing it is an idiot. You know what I mean? We want to see. So AMPS is like that. Every now and again, you might get something that sounds snippy, but they kind of have an unwritten rule of you give a compliment, you give the critique, and then you finish up with nice work or something like that. That way, the modeler doesn't feel attacked.
That's called a constructive sandwich, is what I was taught in leadership school. You start off on a good note, tell them what they're doing wrong, and then end it on a good note. They will remember, and say it 3 times because they won't remember it till they hear it the last time.
Oh,
Frank,
yes,
you're funny.
I got those before.
You're funny. You're fat and ugly.
Yeah,
but you don't
Yeah.
smell.
I've got nosy for it. Thanks for showing up on work to work on time today, Brian. Can you come into my office? We got to talk about some crap.
Yeah.
Fred
Okay.
Henry says he can attest to the 10-year-old at JaxCon.
Yeah, he was there too. He was there.
He saw
too.
that too.
Yeah, he was there. And I've
Well,
actually talked
next
to a
year.
couple of guys, and one of the guys that's a good friend of, well, he's a friend of mine. He's a good friend of Old Tom's and whatever. He's a friend of Fred's. He is one of the people in that club that put that on, and that was a lot of people called him and was like, "Hey, this happened. You need to address that at your next club meeting. That's not
Yeah.
something." And
Right.
it certainly doesn't do anything helpful for the event itself, right? If people hear that and they're like, I just do not go if they're going to leave those kind of messages on my car.
Yep.
Who is this 10-year-old kid? I might take the kid outside and smack him around too.
No, that 10-year-old kid probably just saw it and said, "Hey, what's that? Hey, what's this?"
Right.
Right.
I was actually
Don't defend that shit, Justin.
Well,
I saw the young lady up there with the judges and all, and I thought it was kind of cool that she was, getting involved. I assumed that she was just watching her dad, that she was there alone, and he didn't want to leave her in a crowd of mixed people, especially modelers or whatever, So she was just there. I didn't realize she was actually judging, or at least taking part in the judging. That was just. But for her to be up there, I thought was great. Get young people involved, get the
Yeah.
ball rolling, get them encouraged. But I had no.
Well,
That was before I found out about the found 5 things wrong with your 10-year-old by a 10-year-old girl. I didn't like that at all.
well, rest assured, next year you don't have to worry about that because you'll find 4 things wrong by an 11-year-old.
Right there you go.
Improvement.
They left a note on Fred's beautiful car. It says it was a Ford that he built, but they picked him apart for having GM seatbelts in it.
Oh yeah, I remember
I
talking.
I didn't eat them. I made them for lunch this week.
Hey, Mike,
Sir,
can I give a shameless plug here?
absolutely.
We just recorded our podcast on Friday, and we talked to George Ramos and Ricky Wallace Jr., the guys who put on the Cars and Coffee show
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago. That got a lot of recognition and stuff, and we got to talk to them about what their inspiration was for putting on a non-judged event. And it was very enlightening, and it was something that we're actually thinking about doing here in the Phoenix area. So
That's awesome.
hope you guys
That's
all
awesome.
tune in and watch that on both the YouTube channel as well as Spotify.
Yep, that's awesome. I got inspired by those guys, and I've reached out to my local Cars and Coffee group, and there's another. We have the Don Garlitz Museum here close by, and we also have another guy that's called Bernie's. He does a lot of work, a lot of resto mod stuff. He's got a really big shop, and they hold a car show at his place every month. So I've reached out to those guys to see what it would take for us to just to display our models up there, not have a competition or whatever, but just to get guys together to come and display their stuff. But the biggest thing is I'm trying to find something that's inside. I don't want the guys to be outside, dirt and dust. These things are held in parking lots and whatnot. So,
Right.
having a little logistical stuff, but hopefully we'll be able to put something together. And that's just going to be for lack of better terms, because the car show is a show and shine. You can get a fan favorite award or something like that. Nothing, no type of monetized or nothing like that. But and I feel like we could do a show and shine for the model cars as well.
But
Right
that kind of goes to where these peer awards, as what they're being called, like these guys, like the chips that we put out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a perfect place for those types of shows, because you're getting recognized by your fellow model builders or social media influencers, quote unquote. I hate the term, but essentially, yes, we are social media influencers. Just because of the stigma that goes along with that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I should be wearing a thong and looking out at the beach, you know what I mean, or doing some kind of weird dance. No.
What makes you think I'm not?
There's a visual I could have.
Did I ever give you the impression that I'm not?
But yeah, that is where these the peer awards come in so much bigger. Like, so many people go, holy shit, you liked my build, this is amazing. Like
Yep.
this is better than getting an award at the show.
Oh, when I was at Acme, I gave one of those to somebody who turned out to be somebody who became a friend of mine. His name is Brad, Mr. Sparkles himself, and he was getting emotional over it. He's like, I can't believe you like my model that much to give me one of these. And then we were at the What's a Pomona show, and I gave out a couple of those also, and the guys were like, really? I can't believe. Oh wow, this means more to me than winning an award from the judges. I'm like, okay, that'll be $50, no problem.
Last year in September, I went to the PennCon show, which is up in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. It's within the driving distance range of one of my standard shows that I go to, and I saw this tank that was built. It was a 16 scale King Tiger, I think it was. And it was amazing. Like every component was its own kit. And I gave it a chip. And I was sitting there in my Modeling Insanity sweatshirt with the family out in the lobby. And the guy that built it was talking to the guy he was sitting with going, yeah, I got this thing. I don't know what it's all about, but that someone put down it looks like a poker chip on my model. And I sat there like listening, but not listening, and just a smile on my face because my son was like, Dad, he's talking about you. You put a chip down on his tank. And I didn't say anything, but like I said, I got the sweatshirt on with the logo. And then finally I'm just, I started listening. His friend goes, I think it was that guy there that put that down. And the guy looked at me and he goes, was that you? Did you put it down? I was like, absolutely. He's like, what is it? I said, I'm a co-host on this podcast, and I thought your build was freaking cool. It was cool as shit. He goes, this is awesome. Like, I have no clue what it is, but this is so cool. And it kind of, you could tell it picked him up for the day,
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
totally.
Peer recognition is always going to be, at least in my book, will always be the highest form of of compliment from somebody who knows what it takes to do it, to recognize something you did and appreciate it. That's awesome. That's
right.
I'm ordering up my chips as well, but I'm getting with my buddy that does all my graphic design for me, the guy that created my card and all that. I'm going to have him make me up like a little business card that I put with him to let them know, listen, this is not part of the show. This is just a peer recognition award. You're not going to get anything from whoever's hosting the show. This is an individual thing. And so it kind of explains to them in case they don't bump into me like that guy bumped into you and you were able to explain it. In case they don't bump into me or don't know what it is or whatever, they can get the opportunity. But I feel what you got, BG?
That's what we do.
Because I wanted to see how you guys laid that out.
Okay, so we give out the card with the chip, and then in the blank space up in here, we'll write, I'll write, I loved your model, BG, type of thing. And when we were in Colorado, I was putting these down. They said, we loved your model, BG and Chuck.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome.
Helps out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see those guys.
Ours is kind of associated with our Facebook page. So after every show that somebody puts chips down, we typically get an influx of requests to join the Insanity podcast page, and it's always someone put a chip down from this on my model at the show. You know what I mean?
I like
so
that.
It's awesome.
I got a chip from the Modeling Insanity podcast at Replicon.
From
Rick? Did?
He made me dance for it.
Yeah,
he made me dance for it.
Does the backside of it say?
He flipped it over as he walked away. Nice.
Me and Joe Green style. Hey kid.
Yeah. Hey kid.
Does the back of it say a 10-year-old kid liked your model? Here's a chip.
Yeah.
That's
a 10-year-old kid said this model sucked.
Yeah. Found 5 things wrong with your model. Here's a chip.
There's a chip.
Wow. I'd be like, who did that? I want to know who it is right now. Who did that?
Right.
10-year-old kid said, "Don't quit your day job."
Frank, you suck.
Wow.
Like I don't know already. I need a 10-year-old kid to tell.
Oh, kids can be cruel.
I'm with Chad.
So can I.
I'm with Chad. It won't be long, and those authentic signed BG cards and chips will be on eBay going for big bucks.
I would know about big bucks. They might come free with a model kit, though.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, King
Well,
Bob got
gentlemen,
one.
we are creeping up on our 2 hours, and I know everybody has things to do, and the chat's rolling
Already?
like crazy, but
We're
just
still
want
working on
to
Stan
say,
Lincoln.
yeah, I know, right? This time
Hang on
flies
one
by.
second. King
Yeah.
Bob, what show did you go to that the Insanity chip showed up? I want to know.
What?
King Bob posted up. He's got a modeling
Ah.
Insanity poker chip. I'm curious what show he got it at.
Ooh, where would he have gotten that? Let me see. That would have been.
I don't know who he is, and I don't know where he's at.
King
so.
Bob's
Bob
he
Bruce King, we're
does
talking to
lives
you.
on Monday. He's a great guy. We were talking one time. We were on this show. We were talking about how many models did you build last year? King Bob built 50 or 51 models in a year.
Something
That's like
like
one
that,
a
yeah.
week, and
One a week.
they're
Jesus.
nice models, right? I mean, he's good
Well,
at
obviously, at least one of them was good enough to get an Insanity chip.
it. Right? I'm trying to figure out what show he would have gone to get one of those poker chips, because you got.
Where's he? What area is he at?
I think he's in like Midwest somewhere. I'm not exactly sure, but Midwest. He'll let us know here in a minute if he didn't check out. Yeah, here he goes. Tiger Con, Columbia, the
Missouri.
USS Ares hydroplane.
Okay. So
Tiger
that
Con-
might have been one of our modeling adjacent, Insanity adjacent members. So our core members, we've sent some chips out to, since we typically don't get out too far out west.
Okay.
And so they, because when we go to shows and we're all at a show, we like to share the love and have our inner core group pick out some good models too. So we probably sent it out to Stuart, and Stuart probably put it out for us. That's awesome, Bob. Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
So here's my thing with the peer stuff is recognition through peers is they're most likely going to know more about that kit that you built than some of the judges that are walking around
Absolutely
judging, so that means a lot more in
Right,
my opinion.
I agree with you 100%. The guy that's actually built that 68 Dart knows that this is a pain in the butt to do, or has built that GTO and knows it's a pain in the butt to do, or in armor. I don't pretend to know that much about armor, but let's say there's a tank out there. It's really tough to get past this one part or whatever. And this guy built this kit, and he's looking at one that somebody else built. He essentially he knows what work it took to get there because he's been there himself. And to get a tip of a hat from that guy is always good.
Or rebuilt a GTO.
I lost. I didn't place in a category, and it was a replica stock category, and I lost to a car that had yellow spark plugs. No joke, yellow spark plugs and torque thrusts. But truth be told, it was much better built than anything that I had entered. And I think they went by IPMS rules where it wasn't like the judge not necessarily have been good at recognizing replica stock, like yellow spark plugs and torque thrusts, but the build quality was far superior to what I had entered. It happens.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I went up there to JaxCon this year, and I truly thought I was going to do well with my 67 Charger, and I didn't even get a note that said a 5-year or 10-year-old girl found 5 things wrong with it. So I was a little disappointed, but all I did was picked it up, put it back in its case, and I'll do better next year. It's motivation to do better next year.
Hey,
Tim working on a 143rd scale car. Come on, Cameron. There we go.
Wow. Hang on just a second, BG. Hold what you got. I'm going to blow you up so we can see it. There we go.
Boom. Timothy, that's what I'm working on there. My starter from Chrome.
Tim K made a good point before when he said, it's good that there is a 10-year-old looking at the models, which I agree, and there is the positive. But
right, at least that 10-year-old hasn't found video games yet.
Yes, and the adult involved didn't have to write down what the kid found wrong, though.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Right. Yeah. She didn't write that down there and walk off. You know, somebody,
Yeah,
some
Was it
dad or
written in
somebody.
crayon?
it's good to know. I mean, it's good to know that there's a 10-year-old out there that knows,
What they're looking
you
at.
know, 5 things that are wrong with a
Yeah,
model.
well,
Which is cool. That's the cool
she's
part of it.
like, did you see what's on the table? Yeah, that's nice, Dad. Okay, great. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now and like I said, keep your eyes open. You're going to start seeing that paradigm shift where shows are going to start being gold, silver, bronze, where you're not judged, where they try to knock you out of a competition, but rather find what's right with your model. And then
Yeah, that's the only hardware I've
subtract from
taken
it.
home. I've got 2 bronze and a silver for my Volkswagen, my Hudson, and what was the other one? I forget. My Uncertainty. So at PamsCon last year, I was able to take home those 3. So I was really happy about that.
Yeah, shows are starting to change from that IPMS first, second, third to gold, silver, bronze, because they found it's just much more beneficial to the modeler, to the judging staff.
Yeah, across the board. So
Oh man, Ted, you're funny. Yes, this is actually a 1/16 scale car I'm working on. I'm just that big of a guy.
Those
right,
giant freaking hands.
he's got Andre the Giant hands.
Right. Oh yeah.
Anybody want a peanut?
Okay, boss. Okay, boss.
Everybody move.
Yes, you are the
Well,
Brute Squad.
You are the
Well,
Brute Squad.
We have reached our 2-hour mark, guys. Want to go ahead and do some shout outs. Frank, you are our guest again. So would you like to go ahead and do your
Yes.
shout outs and say goodbye?
I would like to give a shout out to Modeled Out Customs. T. I apologize for not getting this out sooner, but everybody, if you can, head over to Modeled Out Customs. Please like, subscribe, and share his stuff. I apologize. I lost this card. I just found it. Otherwise I would do it on my channel. But as soon as I'm doing shout outs on my channel, I'm going to be doing another one for T. So if you can head over to his channel and subscribe, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. What about plugs?
That's
you
it for me.
Plugs in? Get your plugs in.
Frank's Model Works everywhere in your house.
That's a weird name for your butt plug.
Whoa, hey.
Whoa, wrong plug.
But the record show wasn't Frank that ruined this week's episode.
Let
the record accurately reflect that it was in fact Justin Ryan who went.
It always is. I told you.
So here's the line, and then here comes Justin. Carl Lewis.
I'm wearing 2 pairs of glasses. I didn't see the line.
It's not a disguise. It's not a disguise.
It's a wall. Stop right there.
So it's Frank's Model Works.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Frank. Go ahead. Finish up.
That's it.
Frank's Model
Thank you
Works
very much
everywhere.
for having me again.
Absolutely. But we appreciate having you. Mr. BG, you want to go next?
Sure. I don't have a shout out to do. I didn't know we were doing it that way.
I'm sorry. When I said shout out, I meant plugs, but you don't have to have. I don't have one either. So.
Oh, okay.
He's afraid to say plug.
No, yeah. I know what appreciation things Justin's going to be leaving on the benches at people's award shows from now on.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
Printed it myself. Yeah, if you want to watch more of this crap, stop by BG Model Workshop on the YouTubes because we're going to be working on more of that stuff. And then also, again, check out Spotify where we have the Scale Model Car podcast. We should have an episode coming up, being loaded up today or tomorrow. And then you can catch us all again a little bit later on. I won't be here next week, but I'll probably be here the week after that. So thank you, guys. Been fun.
Sweet. Thank you, sir. What about you, Mr. Justin Ryan?
As usual, Ryan's Random Model Works on the Facebook, Modeling Insanity Podcast on the Facebook, and on the podcast pages. Modeling Insanity Podcast.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Well, I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat today. You guys were rocking it. We saw north of 70 people in there. It gets difficult to keep up with, but we try our best to try to respond to as much as we can to the chat. But I want to thank Frank and Justin and BG. Thank you guys so very much, Mr. BG. We will miss you next week, but we're gonna try to get some new faces in here, maybe get some new ideas, and we'll get you a filler while you're gone. We'll take care of it.
Right on.
But I want to echo what all my guys said. You go be sure and check out Frank's Model Works, the Insanity Podcast, and the Scale Model Car Podcast. And of course, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. I'm part of the AMC Livecast team. We'd love to see you guys there. Sundays here between 4 and 6. And of course, the Scale Model Outlaw. If you want to get bored to tears, you can go over there to my channel and check out what I got going on there. But in the meantime, y'all be good at it. Be kind to others and keep on modeling. See ya.